Hello YouTube, welcome back to the garage. Today's little episode is quite short. Last video we had a look at pushrod tubes and getting them out. There's one final job on the head, not my actual head but a spare head I've got lying about, which is an irritation with 2CV heads, which are exhaust studs. So we're going to look at them and how we can get them out, because they're often very, very rusty and break very easily. So as usual, our victim is waiting for us on the bench, so let's go and have a look. Right, here's our head. As I say, it's one that needs a bit of work. The seats need recutting and various other bits and pieces. But it was handy, so I'm just going to show the issue and what I would do about it, because this head's got to be done, so they've got to come out, come what may. So there's our studs. As you can see, they're complete, but very rusty. In fact, there's a chunk missing out one there. I don't know if you can see that. I shall put you on macro mode in a minute and show you that. Now, removal. There are various ways to remove these. The first method, which isn't going to work on these because the threads are so rusty, would be to wind two nuts down, lock them together, and then undo the bottom nut, which would unwind the stud. Success rate, slim at best. As I say, in this case, the nuts won't even go on the threads because they're really, really rusty. So that's that method eliminated. Sometimes, if it's broken off, you can get a nut on and then weld the nut to the remains of the stud and try and remove it that way. That can often be more successful than winding two nuts together, but again, hit and miss. The good old-fashioned mold grip method. Now, if you've got cheap grips, Chinese, Indian type, don't even bother trying. Complete and utter waste of time. These are genuine vice grips from America, and even they struggle to get them out because the corrosion, the similar corrosion between the steel of that and the alloy creates a terrific bond. But sometimes you're lucky, warm the alloy, get a good grip, work it backwards and forwards. Sometimes you're lucky. The next method, and the one I intend using now, is a roller stud remover. And inside that hole there are three long rollers. That drops over there like that. You put your socket on it, tighten it up, and out comes the stud. This, in my opinion, is the best method because it grips the stud over a large area and gives you plenty of leverage. None of this is foolproof. Now, I've got two of them. One I've had for donkey's years, made by Koken, which is absolutely brilliant. Japanese firm. Superb tools, last donkey's years. For some reason, I couldn't find that, so I went and bought one only a few weeks ago because I was starting to work on engines and I needed one. Made by Beta. It's Italian. It's slightly smaller than the Koken one, but the principle is exactly the same. I don't know. I'm slightly less impressed with this one than that one, but you know, that's personal preference. I've got no real reason for it. These can be bought on eBay, M7, under £12 delivered. So, not an expensive tool and one that works. So, we're going to have a go at getting this one out. In fact, it doesn't really matter which one I try. I try this one, this doesn't really matter. But we're going to try and get them out. So, we need our roller. We need a 1/2 inch ratchet to put it on. But most importantly, we need heat. I'm using a butane propane mix. You can get smaller plain blue propane ones. No, butane ones, sorry. Smaller blue butane ones, which are slightly cooler. This is moderately hot. And you can buy MAPS gas ones in yellow cans, which are the hottest, I believe. I'm certain they're the hottest. So this is what I've got handy. This is what I'm using. So I'm just going to get lots of heat into the alloy around the stud. I don't want it on the stud. It's not much point heating the stud really. If you had oxyacetylene, you could try heating the stud to make it swell. But with this stuff, you might as well just heat the alloy. So I want the alloy really, really hot before I try and move that stud because it's very rusty. So I'll come back to you in a minute when this is warm. Right, that's probably a full 2 minutes, so we'll give it an exploratory go. No, more heat required. These are very rusty. Right, back again. Right, try again. Nope. This one's very stubborn. Right, this. More heat. This one's very, very tight. Oh. Right, this one has moved, I think. Trust me to pick the one that's super tight. Right, a bit more and I think we'll be there. This is unusually stubborn. But, you know, not always going to be easy. No. Well, it looks like I picked the one that will not come out. That's clever of me, isn't it? No. Right, let's try the other one then. Right, now that is what's supposed to happen. It shouldn't be as tight as the first one was really, but we'll see if we can actually get this out before I start shooting my mouth off. And there we go. Right, so that still leaves us for this one, which is unbelievably awkward. Just a quick point about heating actually. I don't know if you can see, but there's a very long blue flame which is dark blue, and then a light blue one which ends about there, and another dark blue one further in, which is the innermost one. The hottest point of the flame is at the tip of that innermost peak. Is that of interest? So that's the hottest spot. Right, just another go. No. That's it, skipping off the rollers. This is not good. Right, so the only thing left I can do is wind a nut on as far down as I can get it. It'll butcher the nut, and weld it on and try and get it off doing that, which is not ideal because A, you don't have a welder here, and most people don't have welders at home. But that's all we can do, so that's what we shall have a go at. Right, I'm going to have to weld it, so rather than using 11mm, I've gone for a larger nut, which is loose on the stud, for two reasons. One, I want to try and get weld deep in. When I weld it, I want to get weld deep into there to make sure that's well attached to that. And the second thing is it'll also give me a larger spanner size for when I try and unwind it. So my welder is not here, it's at my workshop elsewhere. So I'm going to have to bring you back once it's all welded up, and we'll see if this thing will come out. Right, that didn't go well. I welded the bolt onto the stud, and then whilst it's still hot, in the hope that it's swollen inside here and moved the alloy a bit, but it just snapped clean off somewhere else. So this is now an entirely different problem, and one we will have to look at in a future video. So we're going to move on to the studs themselves next. Just before we do that, I forgot to show you the one that came out. Now normally it'd be like powdery white deposits from the alloy on there, which is what jams up the threads, makes it very hard to get out. This one's alright, which might be why it came out. This one I suspect isn't. So let's move away from the head now and have a look at the studs themselves. Okay, onto the studs themselves. That's an original type stud. Lots of 2CV suppliers will sell you that. Just basic steel, like the originals. And then it would have had normal M7 nuts on. places like ECAS will sell you copper coated nuts, which will provide a lot more corrosion resistance. They're flange nuts, and they will lock as they go down, looking at the shape of them. It's very slightly oval at the end, I don't know if you can see that. So the round where they go in, and very slightly oval, so they'll lock. There's a proper name for these, I can't think what it is at the minute. I'll put it underneath, because there's a name for mechanical locking nuts, and I can't remember for the life of me what it is. So that's a good solution. They will of course go rusty over time like everything else, but the more you protect them with appropriate greases, the longer it'll take to go bad. And then an alternative, which I'm going to give a go, for these stainless steel ones, which are slightly longer than the original ones. Yeah, a little bit longer, not that that matters. They also have flange nuts, but with serrations built into the bottom to give you a bit of grip as you tighten them down. They should not corrode as badly. Stainless steel can still go off. It's not the panacea for all ills, that's for sure. The thread is slightly loose, but stainless steel on stainless steel can result in sticking. So presumably that's why the machine very slightly loose. So again, I'll still be using protective grease, and there's a raging debate online, like so many things online, about whether stainless steel will still corrode in alloy casings. Now, the split seems about 60-40 saying it will. I can only state what I have seen, and that may be of absolutely no use to anyone, but I have seen stainless steel fittings going into external alloy cases on motorcycles and on scooters, in fact on a Lambretta, where when it came time to undo them, there was clear oxidization going on in the alloy where there was a reaction between the two metals. The fact that I've seen that happen doesn't mean to say it's going to happen every time. And also, I think it probably depends on the quality of the stainless that was being used as well, plus the quality of the alloy of the casings. So there's lots of variables. So what I'm going to do is I will put a small amount of thread lock where it goes into the head, which will act as a barrier between that and the alloy of the head, and then I will use copper grease or some other grease, graphite-based grease, something like that, when I fit the manifold to minimise any possible reaction. Now that may be overkill, and there's probably people from one camp or another screaming at the TV now, saying what an idiot I am. You do what you want to do, it's your vehicle, do what you think is best. So there you go. That's what's going to happen.